Good evening, everyone. K Kim here from the Traders Club. Thank you for tuning in. Let's look at the market here. We'll look at NASDAQ, actually Spider first, and NASDAQ, the Russell, and the Dow Jones. And if we have time towards the end of the video, we'll look at Apple and Tesla. And obviously, we've had some good looks here in the minor term for the buyers. As you can see, we're now above all these moving averages, something that we've been talking about, ever since, January and December, is that, we did have what it looks like a potential topping pattern, right? Potential. That's not a primary term topping pattern. However, that is more of an intermediate term topping pattern. And something that we talked about is that in this kind of market, not only we need to see a full confirmation, the initial confirmation is not even enough. Right, we talked about that last week. Go ahead and reference last week's video if you don't know what I'm talking about. Initial confirmation is not even enough. We need to see a full confirmation. Well, here we didn't even have any of that. We didn't even have an initial confirmation. Actually, this level was held. Buyers protected that level, and and you can see now buyers have created or established minor term higher low there, and that's very, very important because that is a huge success from the buyers. Because you can see last few times this was back in January 22nd, and this was back in January 9th. When we hit that resistance level, this thing came down pretty hard, right? For a whole week it was a bearish week after then. So there was a certain insinuations back in this was about like 4 days ago. 4 trading sessions ago, when this thing kind of had that gap up, it was attempted to break out, it was faded, and so this was where a lot of bears thinking that this was going to come back down, hopefully maybe to about 197, 200-ish level, and then, well, the next day what happened was we gapped down, came down, hit that 10 EMA. What happened was we actually bounced yesterday. Today we held up. Right, so what we have so far is a minor term higher low. So this is a very different sentiment than what we had here and here. We have a minor term uptrend developing here. Go to the line chart, you can see, if I actually just draw a line here, you can see that we have actually closed well above that resistance level while cultivating that higher low. So that is an initial confirmation of potentially even inverted head and shoulder here, or triple top. It doesn't matter what it is, but what matter is that we have created now high and a higher high, low and a potentially higher low. So momentum, right? Momentum is favoring the buyers at this point. So I would have to say the minor term, it looks bullish, and also intermediate term, it looks bullish because what's happening right now, because we have gotten above this level, because of this recent action. Obviously, we might need a little bit more, maybe one more bullish thrust or something like it to back up to this resistance level. But what it's doing is it's almost like it looks like we're doing what I call topping or nullification process. This intermediate term topping pattern nullification process. Once we gap back up to this level, we might see a little bit of resistance and maybe a pullback, and then thrust higher. That will be nullifying what it looks like intermediate term topping pattern. That was never initially confirmed. That was never fully confirmed. We actually held this level. Once the nullification process completes, I perceive that we're going to see about 2 months, maybe more, of a bullish. And obviously, it's going to have its ups and downs. It's not going to go straight up, but I believe that we're going to continue to be in an uptrend, probably following 50 MA and 100 SMA. Does that make sense? So let's look at other indices, because there was a lot of discrepancies between indices. There were some different mixed signals, but now with the recent move, they start to be a little bit more unanimous. They start to condone each other, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. Let's actually go to NASDAQ. We just talked about how, spider clearing certain level. Also, NASDAQ did the same today. Not only it nullified this lower high pressure, because that could have been some kind of downtrend development, right? But then now with the recent low, this was a low, lower high, right? has been nullified with this price action, now we cannot say that we're in a downtrend, right? Not only that, if with the recent bullish move, we have cleared above this resistance. Not only that, we have cleared above horizontal resistance. And not only that, if I actually go to line chart, just like Spider, you can see that we have now cultivating higher lows and higher, do you see this? Higher highs in the minor term, right? So when you dissect these price action, you can see that there's something happening. You can see that buyers, bulls, are establishing something. They are cultivating something. They're forming something. They're building something here. Momentum is favoring the buyers at this point, right? And it was very, very important for the buyers to flush this thing down, especially on the NASDAQ. What they needed to do to continue this momentum, flush this thing down, and then potentially make lower highs and then maybe lower lows and continue in a trend. Well, they failed to do that. Buyers made a higher low, higher high, and then now we have a minor term uptrend. And I think if we can get above, if the NASDAQ can get above that level, I think it's going to look more and more bullish every single day. And so let's look at Russell as well. I think the Russell is the first one they gave us that early signal before all of the indices, right? This was something we've been talking about here at the club. What we've been talking about is, hey, this was first time when the Russell, it cleared above the horizontal resistance. This was before any other indices has done that. You know, NASDAQ just did that, and then S&P 500 just did that, but Russell actually did it a little bit earlier, gave maybe even foreshadowing what was to come. In the other indices, you can see we had these lows and we clear above that level. We talked about how we want a line chart that is higher high, higher low. We are cultivating, we are forming, we are establishing minor term uptrend there. And then with the recent there, we saw some certain weakness, but it looks more like, you know what, it looks more like a bull pennant or some kind where it's still staying above 10 EMA and 20 EMA here. So I think this looks more like a bullish continuation. If we break higher from this point on, the Russell is going to look more and more bullish. And we've been talking about how, you know, this looked like head and shoulder formation, but we always say these kind of patterns needs to be confirmed. In today's market, initial confirmation is not enough. You need to see a full confirmation. We didn't see any of that here. We didn't even see initial confirmation. And something that we talked about recently and in the last few videos that we've done is that we have what it looks like an inverted head and shoulder for the minor term, and then when we got above that, we had an initial confirmation. If it breaks out of this bull pennant, there will be a full confirmation of this inverted head and shoulder and this bull pennant. So, you know, you can see how, you know, just looking at Spider, NASDAQ, and Russell, that things are starting to look more bullish, you know, as the buyers start to, you know, hold above certain level and create these lows and highs in the minor term, right? So lastly, let's look at Dow Jones here. See how they are doing. Dow Jones pretty similar. We did clear above that level. I mean, Dow Jones is just a little bit, they're not always, you know, Dow Jones is not completely respecting certain area. I guess this looks much better. You can see that the lower highs here, that is now possibly acting as new support, but it also looks like kind of like Russell also looks like a bull pennant there, staying above this recent horizontal resistance. Again, go back to the line chart, you can see that we had this kind of a, you know, minor term lower lows and lower highs, right? Do you see this? So we had this downtrend forming, but something has changed, right? Because once we formed that higher low, high, or I mean the low there, higher low, and then we are starting to, right, you can see it wants to get up and start forming that minor term uptrend there. Dow Jones are a little bit lagging compared to other indices, but I believe that Dow Jones is probably going to follow others. So as I look at these indices, Spider, the NASDAQ, the Russell, and the Dow Jones, they are starting to be unanimous. They are starting to condone each other. It wasn't like that. We had a lot of mixed signals. So this is where you can start to see that the whole market, when the whole market kind of, you know, sending us a similar message like that, that's when you know that buyers are gaining control slowly. Obviously, there are still certain levels that it needs to get above, it needs to reclaim, but I think we're getting very close to see bulls yet again seeing that victory. And we've seen that happening so many times in the past. We had a shakeout there, shakeout here, maybe a little bit of shakeout there. There's always shakeouts, there's always up and downs, but in the end, buyers always bring it right back up. Why? Because we're in a primary term uptrend, right? That's why. Without the potential, without the primary term topping pattern, this market isn't just going to do this in one day and do that. It's going to take at least 6 months to a potentially year to form a major topping pattern. Don't forget that. Don't think that this market is going to have this kind of run in just one day. Obviously, it's not going to happen in one day, but in maybe within a week or a month that it's going to do that. That's not going to happen. We may have this kind of a abrupt sell-off event, but this is a great buying opportunity after you see certain characteristic of a reversal, because a lot of times you get this straight down move, it's going to have a straight up move, because again, you cannot break this market with this straight down. The only way you're going to break this market is that if you form some kind of a major primary term topping pattern, and we do not have that. So I hope that makes sense. So I am bullish in the minor term, I am bullish in the intermediate term, and I am bullish in the primary term. So it's starting to look pretty good here in the market here. Apple's starting to look very, very good. You can see how, we've been involved with the Apple quite some time. We actually first initiated there, and we added some more after the earnings, and then some pretty good run so far. And you can see we had what it potentially looked like triple bottom, or you could look at that as inverted head and shoulder terminology. Formality is not it's not important. What's important was this was potential bottoming pattern, or potential very solid higher low, I might add. You can see we had a low, high, very solid higher low, and we made new highs there. What does that mean? We're still in an uptrend. That's kind of what it means here. So great run here. I still think that we can get to about 128ish, maybe because with such a bullish run here last 3 days, we might get to maybe 126 before pulling back, but make sure we stay above this level. Even if we get a sudden abrupt pullback, what you want to see is you want to make sure that we hold about 118-ish level. Make sure that 50 MA, you could come back down to 50 MA level here and then kind of bounce back up. At this point though, we do not have any kind of data, any kind of signal saying that it's going to pull back. You can say that this thing is, this thing is extended, all of that, but we wouldn't know until we see some kind of evidence that this thing is going to pull back though. So I'm still thinking we can get to maybe 128, 126, this level before slowing down. I can't say at this point, as of today, that thing is going to roll over or pull back hard. I cannot say that because I don't have the data, but I do think that at some of these levels it's going to at least have a slowdown. Maybe 3 days, couple days, we could have a bull pennant, bull flag, we could have some consolidation. I do not know at this point. All I know is, hey, we made new highs, primary term, higher low, uptrend. We're still in an uptrend. We're way above 10 EMA, so minor term bullish, intermediate term bullish, primary term bullish is starting to look really good here. And so we'll continue to look at this as a bullish chart, and this is very, very good looks for the Apple. And I think there's looking at the primary term, I think Apple will do very, very well in 2015. As long as the market continue to illuminate bullish environment, a lot of these stocks will do very, very well. We've been involved Boston Scientific, Starbucks, LinkedIn, Pfizer's been doing so well. So we even have some good breaks. You get some seasons you're gonna have some bad breaks, some seasons you're gonna have good breaks. That's part of trading. And early this year we had a great breaks here, and so I think as the market continues to move to the upside, a lot of these stocks they will grow in a good soil. So I'm using good soil as a metaphor as a bullish market. So like something like Apple can really grow in a bullish environment. So something that I'll be watching. Obviously, if you've been following my blog, I will continue to keep an update on it, and then update my blog post, and so what I'm doing and what I'm thinking on the Apple there. So let's look at Tesla here, and something that I've been watching. Apple and Tesla is something I've been watching on these midweek updates. So I'm just gonna continue to do that. I haven't been involved in Tesla at all since we closed all of our long positions up here. I didn't try to short or nothing. It just But you can see we're kind of still in a lower high, lower low territory. We're seeing, we did have a bullish divergence here. We're seeing certain certain bounce, but you see, we're still, it's still in that territory of a lower high. We didn't even able to gap back up here. I mean, at least gap back up here and then pull back. Then maybe we could have done maybe some kind of invert head and shoulder, but I still would not trying to involve with this unless you get your day trading or getting in trade for very, very short term. Obviously, you know that if you've been following that, I don't do anything short term. Everything I do is long term. 3 to 6 months. Some of them I will even ride a whole year. But anyway, so again, Tesla, we're still in a downtrend. I do see certain signals that we may be bottoming, but we don't have a price action to substantiate that at this point. Again, I've been telling you guys that what I would like to see is if we can see something like this, we start to create higher highs, higher lows, I might want to involve in something like somewhere there. Because that's what you want to see. Is when you want to get in, when you want to start, initiating certain position, you want to ride that trend, right? You want to position trade that for the next 3 to 6 months. You must understand that we have to see certain kind of evidence that is start to initiate or start to develop some kind of uptrend. Do we have any kind of uptrend here? We do not. We don't even have. I mean, we just went straight up. We are pulling back. We don't know at this point it's going to come straight down. We're going to get up. So at least you want to see certain evidence that it is forming higher lows and higher highs. Before then, I will be out of this. But I am watching Tesla though, and maybe I want to gap back into the upside. But I believe it's not gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen in February. For me to want to get long, it might be maybe late February, early March. I mean, I don't know at this point, but I'll look at it and see when will be a good time. And then possibly I'll write an article again so I can also let you guys know about that. So that's all I got for me. All I got for tonight. And I hope you guys enjoy your evening. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to use my blog comment section there for any comments at all. I like to hear your feedback. And so all right, we'll talk soon. Bye.